Hello everyone, welcome to official channel 4, and I'm happy to introduce you to Jose Antonio, an actor and a teacher who has kindly accepted my invitation today. Thank you, and how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good because I like to talk with you in your podcast, so
Okay,
let's go.
thank you for coming. Now, how did your passion for acting come about in the first place?
Well, I'm not really sure, but I think it all started when I was a kid. I used to write my own stories, and then I played them, performing the male roles and also the female. I didn't need anyone to start a show, so
Great. It sounds fantastic. And are you thinking of developing your passion into taking a further step to cinema, for example?
although theater is one of my passions, cinema is a discipline I also enjoy, but
You've not considered it yet.
well, I'm not an ambitious person. I know that cinema in the industry is competitive. It could be frivolous, and unless you have a lucky luck break, you cannot succeed.
Right.
So,
Maybe someday you decide to take the plunge into this new field.
well, actually,
Not only luck, but also your bravery to explore new fields.
I casting Una Perra Andaluza. It's a series where I perform Marcos. It's a little local series, and you all can watch the first season on filming.
Is it an Andalusian production or?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, national. And how long have you been performing, by the way?
I started at maybe 16. I was at high school. It was in 2014, I think. So I'm acting for 10 years.
Wow.
I started
Incredible.
with Carolina Ramos.
Right.
She was my first acting teacher. She's an actress.
She's like a mentor to you.
Yes,
Right.
and also a journalist. And I made my debut with an adaptation of Alice in Wonderland, which talked about the migratory problem many people face in order to seek a nicer place to live.
It's a hot topic these days. Now, so I was wondering what the benefits are, because that's the central topic of these the whole point of this discussion is the benefits of performing arts on a social and also personal basis. Tell me about the hacks of performing arts on mental health, especially.
Many psychologists claim practicing arts brings students mental health benefits, like not only relying on memorization, and also empowering them to improve their self-expression, communicative skills, improvisation. And basing on my own experience as a teacher and a director of children plays, I could say that dramatics can be understood by children as a game where they can practice and simulate actions of their daily life.
Yeah, and learn to be empathic.
Yes, and
Developing empathy towards others, for example.
of course, and as a result, they also become less shy they were before taking up theater and overcoming stage fright.
Yeah, and also
example.
overcoming being introverted can also face this social and also personal problem. And now moving on to how beneficial performing arts can be, not just in the social matter, but also in science. In our fast-changing world, it is now possible to see science from the perspective of an artist. In fact, I've heard about this humanoid robot, which uses its robotic arm with the pencil to draw what it sees with the camera and in its eye. And it's very lifelike and can even talk to the people whose picture it's drawing. Can you imagine other forms of artistic science?
Well, I think that arts and sciences are two disciplines that can match because science sometimes could be bored. Arts can bring scientists a higher level of
Interest in
emotion.
Emotions.
So, but
So you can say that art can make science interesting.
yes, I've also heard about measuring the brain waves of painters and transform those brainwaves into musical notes.
Yeah, and sounds.
Yes.
Yeah, and also those musical sounds, I believe, could make people dance on stage, for instance. Yeah, interesting. And I'm imagining now a conversation between Picasso and Einstein. How interesting and crazy that could be. Imagine. Okay, now I want to also dig a bit deeper into how, again, powerful art can be on a global scale. Covering the issue with gender violence and how we could address this thanks to the performing arts. And to what extent do you think that theatre, especially, can create these spaces for discussion?
Well, a case in point is Forum Theatre, created by Augusto Boal. He was a Brazilian actor and also a teacher. Forum Theater is a participatory way of performing where the audience can take an active part on the show and interact with the actors. On the one hand, the actors address unfair daily situations in which their roles and stereotypes of the oppressor, the oppressed, and the allies are involved. And on the other hand, the public can offer participating on the show more equal situations, more equal alternatives to those problems.
Wow, that sounds incredible. I've also read about this Sierra Leone in Africa. They are working with local comedians doing interactive drama with techniques very similar to the ones you mentioned, such as responding to questions from the audience with small groups of men. And I want to highlight that they involve the figure of men, especially, taking part with the rest of the audience, including men and women together. So it should be nice to see that coming in Spain, in our country as well. And one more thing about the role that performing arts play in society. One final step that we can take into some of the insights of the benefits of performing arts in society is how to deal with social anxiety. And this reminds me of the struggles, especially with young people have to face with mental health these days. And the problem with ageism. Have you heard about ageism?
Yes.
And people who are socially excluded just because they are over a certain age limit, whatever it is. So all these kinds of problems, how can they be dealt with thanks to the arts, you think?
Well, unfortunately, theater and arts performing could be a unfair, difficult and competitive universe. It's also precarious. That's why many people don't consider it as a possible job. And well, but
So it's hard to make a career
yes,
of the arts. But it's inclusive. We want to put the focus that arts can be inclusive socially.
yeah.
Including people struggling with life in many stages. Well, thank you again, José Antonio, for joining me today.